Hey guys, hope you're all doing well. Now for today's video, I wanted to talk about a couple of new set photos that have recently been officially released for Jurassic World Dominion. This time, the film is actually showing us some of the scenes that are actively in development for the new movie. So earlier today, a New York Times article was published that detailed some of the safety precautions that the crew of Dominion were having to take up. And Bryce Dallas Howard, as well as Colin Trevorrow, chimed in on where exactly they were as far as COVID prevention tactics were going. Well, another interesting bit of Dominion information came from this article in the form of two Jurassic World set photos. The first of which features Chris Pratt and, I would assume, DeWanda Wise making their way through a thick primordial jungle. Now, this particular image gives me a lot of Lost World vibes at first glance. I'm not so sure when or where this happened to be filmed, but it pretty much confirms that our characters will still be getting into dinosaur encounters in more forested / jungly areas, despite all of those other photos being set in the new snowy locations. We don't really know what Owen Grady and this other character happen to be doing during this scene, but I think it's pretty safe to say that they're not going to be completely alone wherever they are. All in all, I'm just getting a super Dieter Stark Lost in the Woods vibe here, so honestly, so far I'm really loving the look of this location in comparison to some of the Isla Nublar stuff that we saw in the previous two movies. My favorite look in all of these films has always been the Redwoods aesthetic in Steven Spielberg's second Jurassic movie, and while this place doesn't look identical to that, it's still pretty damn close if you ask me. Now, another awesome image comes in the form of a production member currently working with a small cage of vicious Compys that can be seen here. Now, classically speaking, Compys have pretty much been the biggest nuisances in the Michael Crichton novels when it comes to actually doing significant damage off island, so it's no surprise that we'll be seeing them make a return to this film after what we got of them in Fallen Kingdom. Some of you may notice that this actually marks the second instance that a dinosaur has been featured in a cage in officially released Jurassic World Dominion production material. Earlier in the year, Colin Trevorrow showed us a baby Nasutoceratops being handled inside of a cage, and now much later, we've got these little Compys all bunched up together in a crate. I guess in some way, shape, or form, dinosaur wrangling is still going to be a part of the next film, despite the fact that we know they got out pretty much everywhere in the last one. So, will the plot feature some sort of attempt to capture and control them in order to get a handle on the breakout? Or are these particular images indicative of something else entirely? It's hard for me to tell so far ahead. But despite those two images, last but not least, another interesting piece of information has come out in relation to Jake Johnson's Lowry character that was supposed to make his comeback in the new movie. Early on, Dominion confirmed that Lowry would be back in some capacity. However, the current worldwide pandemic has sadly put a pretty significant strain on that idea. Apparently, Johnson and Colin Trevorrow are still trying to work that part out in a satisfying way. Their major setback being scheduling conflicts caused by the virus. Even though things seem to have changed slightly in plan, I personally still think Jake Johnson will find a way to return to the Jurassic Park franchise, only now I'm pretty sure it's going to be in a relatively minor role than what I had originally thought. Basically, what I'm trying to say is, when they said they'd be bringing back a whole bunch of cast members from previous movies, I think they really meant that Laura, Sam, and Jeff were going to be the main ones, and other characters like Lowry may have only been prepared and scheduled to make minor appearances. Sort of like what went down with Lex and Tim in The Lost World, or Ellie in JP3. Anyways guys, that's pretty much all of the new information we have on Dominion, so with all of that being said, what do you guys think? Which of these images interest you the most? Is it the Compys or that really cool foresty image? Also, how do you think they'll utilize Lowry in the new film? Is he going to be in more than one scene, or is it going to be relegated to something more of a cameo? Whatever your thoughts and opinions happen to be, I'd love to hear them in the comments down below. Now before I go, I'd like to thank all of my game wardens, as well as all of my InGen executives. I'd also like to thank all of my park workers and InGen hunters as well. Guys, it seriously means the world to me that you all continue to support what I do, and I never want you to ever forget that. Now, I'd like to thank you all for watching today's video, and hope you all enjoyed the content. If you feel like I deserve it, I'd appreciate the like and hope that you'll consider subscribing if you're interested in hearing from me again. I'll see you all in the next video, guys, and as always, take it easy.